Hello, welcome to the Magic Finger, part 6. Do you remember that the ducks are living in the Greggs house and the Greggs are now living in a nest? And there was someone who we think may have caused all this trouble. Let's find out how she's involved. It must have been at about this time that I, back in my own house, picked up the telephone and tried to call Philip. I wanted to see if the family was all right. Why does she need to see if they're all right? Can you think of that? Hello, I said. Quack, said a voice at the other end. Who is it? I asked. Quack, quack. Philip, I said, is that you? Quack, 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 quack. Oh, stop it, I said. Then there came a very funny noise. It was like a bird laughing. I put down the telephone quickly. Oh, that magic finger, I cried. What has it done to my friends? Ah, so that confirms it, doesn't it? We thought that she had put the magic finger on them, or we knew that she had, and we wondered if that's what had caused the change. And it is. So let's have a look. There is the duck. Wonder how it knew to answer a phone. It definitely seems to be that as well as growing arms, ducks have got some human knowledge. Look at that picture. It's of someone shooting ducks, look. Okay, let's keep going. That night, while Mr. and Mrs. Gregg and Philip and William were trying to get some sleep, up in the high nest a great wind began to blow. The tree rocked from side to side, and everyone, even Mr. Gregg, was afraid that the nest would fall down. Then came the rain. It rained and rained, and the water ran into the nest. They all got as wet as could be. And oh, it was a bad, bad night. Philip, do you see? The nest's up here. Look at the tree bending in the wind because it is so windy. No wonder they were all worried the nest was going to fall out of the tree. Do you remember we were wondering if they were to get a good night's sleep? I think we know the answer to that question now, don't we? At last the morning came, and with it the warm sun. Well, said Mrs. Gregg, thank goodness that's over. I never want to sleep in a nest again. She got up and looked over the side. Help! She cried. Look down there. What is it, my love? Said Mr. Gregg. He stood up and peeped over the side. He got the surprise of his life. What do you think the surprise of his life is? On the ground below them stood the 4 enormous ducks, as tall as men, and 3 of them were holding guns in their hands. One had Mr. Gregg's gun, one had Philip's gun, and one had William's gun. The guns were all pointing right up at the nest. No, 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 called out Mr. and Mrs. Gregg both together. Don't shoot, please, don't shoot. Here are the ducks. Mr. Gregg, Philip and William. Their guns are being used by the ducks, look. Why not? Said one of the ducks. It was the one who wasn't holding a gun. You are always shooting at us. Look, we've got this slanty writing in the italics again, telling us to emphasise it when we read it. Oh, but that's not the same, said Mr. Gregg. We are allowed to shoot ducks. Who allows you? Asked the duck. We allow each other, said Mr. Gregg. Very nice, said the duck, and now we are going to allow each other to shoot you. I would have loved to have seen Mr. Gregg's face just then. Oh, please, cried Mrs. Gregg. My 2 little children are up here with us. You wouldn't shoot my children. Yesterday you shot my children, said the duck. You shot all 6 of my children. Ooh, I wonder if that's making Mr. Greg, Philip and William think differently about their hunting now. Perhaps it's not occurred to them what the effect is of their shooting. Look, there they are up in the tree. If I come out a bit, you can see, look, the ducks are pointing the guns at the nest up in the tree. Do you think it's occurred to Philip and William and Mr. Greg that ducks might get upset? Do you think that actually ducks could get upset about being shot? Or is this just a story? Do you think really that couldn't happen? Ducks don't have the ability to think as much as us. What do you think? I'll never do it again, cried Mr. Greg. Never, never, never. Do you really mean that? Asked the duck. I do mean it, said Mr. Greg. I'll never shoot another duck as long as I live. That is not good enough, said the duck. What about deer? I'll do anything you say if you will only put down those guns, cried Mr. Greg. I'll never shoot another duck or another deer or anything else again. Will you give me your word on that? Said the duck. I will, said Mr. Greg. Will you throw away your guns? Asked the duck. I will break them into tiny bits, said Mr. Greg, and never again need you be afraid of me or my family. Very well, said the duck. You may now come down. And by the way, may I congratulate you on the nest? For a first effort, it's pretty good. Mr. and Mrs. Greg and Philip and William hopped out of the nest and flew down. Here they are, look, flying down out of the nest. Okay, I've got 3 questions for you today. The first one is, did you feel sorry for the Gregs when the ducks were pointing guns at them and saying they were going to shoot them? If you did feel sorry for the Gregs, could you please tell me why? And if you didn't feel sorry for the Gregs, could you please still tell me why? Question 2. Why did the ducks choose not to shoot the Gregs, do you think? They've pointed out that the Gregs have shot all 6 of their children, and they also did their best to shoot these ducks on lots of occasions. But because these ducks had had the magic finger put on them, they survived. But it wasn't because Mr. Greg didn't try to shoot them that they survived. So why did the ducks choose not to shoot the Gregs? And then the final question for today is, Mr. Greg promises to break his guns into tiny bits, and he promises that he'll never shoot another duck or another deer or anything else again. Do you believe Mr. Greg? Okay, that's it for today. I look forward to reading to you again tomorrow. Bye for now.